Hey there, welcome to another episode of Smooth Stories, a show where we read stories aloud in a smooth, calming way. Today we're going to be revisiting our old friend Hans Christian Andersen and be picking out a story to enjoy together. Let's find a good one. Okay, let's see here. We're going to go with... Alright, let's go with this one. Alright, this is The Jumper. Hope you enjoy. The flea, the grasshopper, and the frog once wanted to see which of them could jump the highest, and they invited the whole world and whoever else would come to see the grand sight. And there the three famous jumpers were met together in the room. "Yes, I'll give my daughter to him who jumps the highest," said the king, "for it would be mean to let these people jump for nothing." The flea stepped out first. He had very pretty manners and bowed in all directions, for he had young ladies' blood in his veins and was accustomed to consort only with human beings, and that is of great consequence. Then came the grasshopper. He was certainly much heavier, but he had a good figure, and wore the green uniform that was born with him. This person, moreover, maintained that he belonged to a very old family in the land of Egypt, and that he was highly esteemed there. He had just come from the field, he said, and he had been put into a card house 3 stories high, and all made of picture cards with the figures turned inwards. There were doors and windows in the house, cut in the body of the Queen of Hearts. "I sing so," he said, "that 16 native crickets who have chirped from their youth up, and have never yet had a card house of their own, have become even thinner than they were with envy at hearing him." Both of them, the flea and the grasshopper, took care to announce who they were, and that they considered themselves entitled to marry a princess. The frog said nothing, but it was said of him that he thought all the more, and directly the yard dog had smelt at him, he was ready to assert that the frog was of good family. The old counselor, who had received 3 medals for holding his tongue, declared that he knew that the frog possessed the gift of prophecy. One could tell by his backbone whether there would be a severe winter or a mild one. And that's more than one can always tell from the backbone of the man who writes the almanac. "I shall not say anything more," said the old king. "I only go on quietly and think my own thoughts." Now they were to take their jump. The flea sprang so high that no one could see him, and then they asserted that he had not jumped at all. That was very mean. The grasshoppers only sprang half as high, but he sprang straight into the king's face, and the king declared that was horribly rude. The frog stood a long time considering. At last people thought that he could not jump at all. "I only hope he's not become unwell," said the yard dog, and then he smelt at him again. Tap. He sprang with a little crooked jump just into the lap of the princess, who sat on a low golden stool. Then the king said, "The highest leap was taken by him who jumped up to my daughter, for therein lies the point, but it requires head to achieve that, and the frog has shown that he has a head." And so he had the princess. "I jump the highest after all," said the flea, "but it's all the same. Let her have the goose bone with its lump of wax and bit of stick. I jumped the highest, but in this world a body is required if one wishes to be seen." And the flea went into foreign military service, where it is said he was killed. The grasshopper seated himself out in the ditch and considered how things happened in the world, and he too said, "Body is required, body is required." And then he sang his own melancholy song, and from that we have gathered in this story, which they say is not true, though it is in print. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Smooth Stories. I do hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, please like and subscribe and comment below. And as always, be kind to yourself and to others, and have a fantastic night. Bye.